Welcome everybody. It's wonderful to be together tonight with some of the most wonderful people that we could ever know. I was adopted by the Petrones back in '04. I don't think they knew how old I was. I became their son. And I was new to leadership in the Republican Party as the chair of the Manchester Republican Committee. And they came and sponsored so many events and invited us out to the house, and we just had some great times. But there's something I want to tell you about Augusta. You know, when you're a part of the family, you find out things that some other people might not know. When Augusta was younger, yesterday, she had this great boyfriend. His name was Anthony Wynn. She called him Tony. And probably if she'd have married him, this would have been a whole different event tonight. Because can you imagine honoring Augusta Wynn? But seriously, they are wonderful people, and they've been really so good to all of us, and really promoting the philosophy of the Republican Party in a wonderful way, hosting so many people in their home, and just such a lovely place. And as we open tonight, I just want to give an invocation and a prayer for the Petrones. Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we are so fortunate to live in a wonderful country and in the best state, New Hampshire, the live free or die state. And we just pray tonight for a couple who has been so good to all of us. And we just pray that you would be with them in their golden years as they continue to inspire and influence so many of us. Give them health and give them strength. And be with us and each one that speaks tonight. And we thank you for those people who were so good in bringing this event together tonight. We thank Jim for his leadership in the event, for Diane Bitter and Marmar, and just a whole list of people, Alan Glassman and his good wife, and just so many people that played a part in making this event such a wonderful night. And we just pray that you would be with each person that speaks. In Jesus' name, and in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Cliff, it's always a hard act to follow, but I'd ask that you stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bring me men to match my mountains. Bring me men to match my plains. Men with empires in their purpose and new eras in their brain. Bring me men to match my prairies, men to match my inland seas. Bring me men. My name is Jim Foley. I'm chairman of the Dairy Republican Town Committee and chairman of the New Hampshire State Republican Finance Committee. And on behalf of the State Committee, Augusta Petrone, Phil and Catherine Miner, the Cheshire Republican Committee, the Dairy Republican Committee, David and Laura Carney, the Belknap County Republican Committee, and the list of friends and admirers that you'll find on your platform, I welcome you here to our evening honoring Ambassador Joseph Petrone. Samuel Walter Foss lived in a house by the side of the road just over in Candia wrote a poem called The Coming America. In it, he has America asking for men to match my forest, men to match my valleys, my rivers, men whose moral current swept towards the wide enfolding ocean. Joseph Colton Petrone, born 30 November 1922, Marshalltown, Iowa, enlisted in the 168th Infantry Iowa National Guard, graduated United States Military Academy Expedited Class of 1944. The fascinating thing about that class is they graduated on 6 June 1944. Served with the 3rd U.S. Army in Europe and was awarded numerous medals and commendations, both domestic and foreign, including 3 battle stars and the Army Commendation Medal. Duty posts included Chicago, Puerto Rico, Iran, Washington, D.C., where he served as an aide to President Eisenhower, Fontainebleau, France. Fontainebleau, France, Ambassador? At that stage of my career, I think I was in Barstow, Georgia.
Fontainebleau is very nice.
Far better than Barstow, Georgia, let me tell you. Fort Hood, Washington, D.C., Korea, and Paris.
Somebody had to do it.
Paris. Retired with the rank of colonel. A member of the United States delegation to the Education, Scientific, and Cultural Organization in Paris. Presidential delegation to Madagascar, and nominated by President Reagan to the United States Permanent Representative to the European Office of the UN and other international organizations in Geneva. Chairman of the Reagan-Bush Iowa Veterans Coalition, Dole delegate from New Hampshire, the 1996 Republican National Convention. Chairman of the Bush-Cheney 04 Volunteer Veterans Coalition, New Hampshire. Bush delegate from New Hampshire to the 2004 Republican National Convention. GOP County Chairman in Iowa. Town Chairman in New Hampshire. Bush Pioneer. Americans for Truth in Politics. Council of American Ambassadors. Elizabeth Dole for President. Friends of George Allen. Friends of Giuliani. Friends of Jim Inhofe. Friends of Katherine Harris. Friends of Newt Gingrich. George W. Bush for President. McCain for Senate. National Republican Senatorial Committee. Rand Paul for Senate. Area 3 Chairman, New Hampshire State Republican Committee. Cheshire County Republican Committee. And the best, married Augusta Henderson in 1958. Bring me men to match my mountains. Bring me men to match my plains. Ambassador Joseph Petrone, Augusta, thank you so very much for having us here tonight. Thank you for allowing us to honor you, and thank you for all that you do.
No, I want to say something. Why am I
Augusta,
very
let me
happy
do it.
tonight? For a lot of reasons. All Republicans.
Those of you who have attended events like this before, who've planned events like this before, know that what we call the line by line is very important. Putting together the line by line for this evening has been a little bit like, herding cats. Nonetheless, I do know where we're starting, and we're going to start with Sharon Sykes. She is a fellow and a fellow of the Vesta Roy program, and has come to say a few words for us.
The wires. Good evening. Although we are here to salute Ambassador Petrone, we would be remiss if we did not recognize the love of his life, Augusta. The typical words used to describe a dedicated Republican, activist, grassroots leader, do not begin to describe the impact Augusta has had on the Republican landscape here in New Hampshire. Our political events would never be sold out if it wasn't for Augusta's tireless emails, invitations, reminders of upcoming events, rallies, debates, and celebrations. I know of no one as dedicated to getting the word out on noteworthy articles to read, upcoming speeches, or educational links to ensure that the New Hampshire voters are well informed. But Augusta and Joseph's dedication to informing the public goes well beyond the computer. Ever since they moved full-time back to New Hampshire in the early 1990s, which they moved back into Augusta's family home, they've opened up their beautiful home, Knollwood Farm, to numerous notable speakers of various backgrounds, including the military, public officials, national and state candidates, commentators, and writers. Among the distinguished people are General Thomas McInerney, Rudy Giuliani, Tim Pawlenty, Fred Barnes, Frank Gaffney, Governors Merrill and Sununu, Elizabeth Dole, Charlie Bass, Jennifer Horn, and many, many more. One unique fundraiser I've heard about was when they held a benefit for the Monadnock Music Group, and their special guest was Julia Child. What an event that must have been. We are indebted to the Petrones for their opening of their home and their generosity. Not being satisfied with the status quo, in 2004, Augusta and Joseph wanted to ensure that New Hampshire's primary remained the first in the nation. They co-founded Victory New Hampshire with Harry Levine. By putting together a network of activist groups dedicated to defending our prestigious first in the nation primary, they increased the awareness of the importance of New Hampshire's primary status. Additionally, Victory New Hampshire advocated for the principles and policies of lower taxes, small government, and a stronger national defense. Augusta's involvement in politics did not begin here in New Hampshire. While living on the farm in Iowa, she was active in local, state, and national politics. In 1984, Augusta was Iowa's co-chairman of the Reagan-Bush campaign. And in 1980 and 1984, she was a delegate for Iowa to the Republican National Convention. And in 2000, she served as a New Hampshire presidential elector. Since wintering in Florida, which I've enjoyed visiting them down there, Augusta has carried her Republican spirit and involvement south. She is an active member of the Women's Republican Club of Naples, the Collier County Republican Committee, and no matter where she goes, Augusta gathers interesting Republicans to exchange ideas and to urge them to recruit and educate more Republicans. Her most recent venture was to assist her neighbor and June Cook, who had an idea of Mamas for Mitt. And together, they put together a group that has currently gone all over the state of New Hampshire, recruiting women of all ages and getting them involved in the Romney president campaign. To me, the largest impact Augusta has had is on the women that she has mentored and the role model she has been. Augusta has recruited and inspired women to run for political office. She has always supported New Hampshire Federation of Republican Women, her local Cheshire County Republican Women, the Destroy Excellence Service Series. With Augusta's encouragement, these organizations have increased the number of women involved in Republican causes, and they've helped to elect Republican women to state and national office. Augusta, from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you for your time and dedication to the Republican Party, for all you've done for the state of New Hampshire, for our elected officials, for inspiring women that you have met and mentored, and for being a loving and caring wife of Joseph. But most of all, Augusta, thank you for being you.
As a Cheshire County Republican, I'd be remiss if I did not take this moment to say that if you look at this room, you'll see a lot of Cheshire County Republicans, and I know we always joke that there aren't very many of us, but there are a lot of them in this room tonight.
Quality.
Quality, not quantity. And one of our leaders, and you notice which county the Petrones chose to live in, right? And so we, Cheshire County, would like very much to thank Augusta and Joseph for everything they've done, not just for the nation and the state, but for Cheshire County. So.
Oh, that is so nice. Joseph and I really appreciate what, I know a lot of work went into what is happening tonight, and a lot of you fought the weather to get over here and find your way. I'm so happy to see so many wonderful friends, and as Joseph would say, wonderful Republicans. And all I can say is just I'm dazzled. You know, he's going to mention a dear friend of ours that he worked for years ago by the name of Vernon Walters, and that'll come later. But General Walters used to say something that I think is so important, and our wonderful elected officials follow this rule. You can be the subject of praise, accolades, kindness, and General Walters used to say, because he really was on the receiving end of that kind of thing, he said, "Don't inhale."
Thank you, Augusta. As we start our evening tonight, we're very happy to welcome Congressman Bass, who in the middle of a very difficult, very contentious race has come to spend some time with us this evening. Congressman Bass.
A cake. What are you talking about? Very tough, difficult. We're going to win. We're going to win. Let's hear it. We are going to win because there are a lot of people in this room that are passionate about issues that are important to America. None more than Joseph and Augusta Petrone. Now the Petrones come to the world of politics with the real gold standard. They have a place in Iowa and a place in New Hampshire. How can you got to be an addict, a real addict, to want to do that. Now the Petrones got more active in New Hampshire about the same time I started to get more active at the federal level. And they stood by me in every single election in which I was involved. They were the first people to step up with a contribution, the first people to send out emails, even though when I first ran, I'm not even sure there were any emails. They were the first people to help me organize. They were the ones that gave me advice and support. And there are a dozen or two people in this state that are true political mentors for me, none more than Joe and Augusta Petrone. Joe and Augusta Petrone are the Rambos of politics in New Hampshire. They are the cheerful warriors who are always there at every event, through thick and thin, through snow and ice and cold. And I remember once, on a nasty day in early January, riding with Bob Dole and Elizabeth Dole down the highway in their fancy limousine to go to some, I know where it was at the hotel in Nashua down there. It was the Castleton at the time. I don't even know what it's called now. And it was about 5 above zero. 5th or 6th of January, and we think, who's going to be foolish enough to be standing out in this weather? Well, there were 2 people at the entrance with Dole signs, and Augusta was in a relatively skimpy, dress, high heels. Joe's in his suit with his scarf on, looking as dignified as ever, and they were standing there like the Gothic American painting with their Dole signs. present here to commemorate this occasion for my friends, the Petrones. And I want to say, in giving Joseph, this present, this isn't the end. We're not wishing them a good retirement. We're just energizing them for the next chapter in their political lives here in the state. I want you to, as Joe opens his present, look at him carefully and tell me that he is not the old man of the mountain of the Republican Party. Thank you very much. Should we open it later or now?
Oh, now.
All right, okay.
Charlie. Oh my goodness. Wow. You got nice, Tommy? I have no idea how to work.
That's great.
Did it work?
Charlie, I hope that was bought out of private funds.
Private funds. There we are. Oh my goodness.
There we go, Joe.
All right, there we go. Don't worry about it.
Oh, Charlie. Oh, that's
I think you've always given us good politics, and it's very important. And it's more important than this time. We gotta be with it now, right? Because we don't want to be what we are.
Right, listen to him. We're gonna win.
I was curious as to why Congressman Bass was so happy with my introduction, and now I get it. You know, there was no collusion there. That just works, which is a good thing. Our program tonight includes friends and neighbors of the Petrones also. And I'd like to invite up the Minor family to speak about the Petrones and their experiences there.
I'm Kathy Miner.
And Phil Miner. And we have the opportunity this evening of doing a couple different honors.
Well, first of all, we met Augusta predominantly, and then Joseph. It was one very wintry January day when George Bush was running for president, and Barbara Bush. They had arranged, orchestrated quite nicely, a wonderful event in Dublin with horse-drawn carriage and so forth with Barbara Bush. And it was at the town hall in Dublin. Most of you, if you've been to their house, you know where the town hall is. It was very wintry, but the preschool was housed in the town hall. And because of Secret Service, the preschool had to close that day. My children were in the preschool. So I said, well, we have to find out what this is all about. So we went to the event, and our children got to shake the hand of Barbara Bush and ride in the horse-drawn carriage. And our children, 3 of our children are here tonight. All grown up. Our 4th child is not able to be here. She's at Camp Lejeune. She is and we have, because of that particular event, a letter, and the letter is from George Bush.
H.W. Bush.
H.W. Dear Augusta and Joe, Barbara and I are checking in with our personal good wishes as you are appropriately honored by the New Hampshire Republican State Committee. Congratulations. When I think of you, Joe, I think about an outstanding public servant. I think about honor, decency, and integrity. I think about love of country and service to others. Augusta, your service and sacrifices deserve our respect and our gratitude. You've made a difference. This special recognition serves as another wonderful reminder of the standard you two have set for professional ethics and hard work. The New Hampshire Republican State Committee has chosen well, and we Bushes join them in saluting you. With respect and warm wishes, George Bush.
As Kathy mentioned, we met Augusta and Joe initially through politics, but throughout the past 20-some years, we've gotten to be considerably more closely tied to the Petrones than that. They become our dear friends. So let me share with you a little bit of some of the personal side of our lives. We've done many, many things with them, but most importantly is, in the things that we most cherish are the muffins and coffee on the porch, celebrating Joe's birthday. We're looking forward to your next one, Joe. It's a milestone this year. But most importantly is you've been very important to us as very dear and enduring friends. And we love you very much. Thank you.
Ron Anderson from Senator Ayott's office would like to read a greeting from the senator.
I am truly honored to be here to read the following letter from the senator who wishes that she could be here tonight. Dear Ambassador Petrone and honored guests, I join you in spirit as you gather to celebrate the many accomplishments of my friend, Ambassador Joseph Petrone. You are here today to honor a lifetime of love and dedication to country and family, both of which the ambassador's lovely wife, Augusta, can attest to. Ambassador, your service as an Army veteran of 3 wars, as a counselor to numerous presidents and their campaigns, and as an ambassador to the European Union is to be commended. I and the rest of the country owe you a great debt of gratitude. Please accept my deepest thanks for all that you have done and continue to do on behalf of the United States and the Republican Party. Enjoy this well-deserved evening of recognition and celebration. Best wishes, Kelly A. Ayotte. Thank you so much.
Andrew Hemingway, who has greetings from Speaker Gingrich.
Good evening. Speaker Gingrich and his wife Callista were very sad that they couldn't make it to the event tonight, but they definitely wanted to send along their thoughts. So I'm delighted that the New Hampshire GOP is honoring Ambassador Petrone. He and his devoted wife Augusta played a heroic role in helping Ronald Reagan win the Republican nomination in 1980, and then helped him defeat President Jimmy Carter. It was the courage, commitment, and energy of great citizens like the Petrones which enabled the United States to win the Cold War and defeat the Soviet Empire. Of intense effort, the Petrones have continued to help the New Hampshire Republican Party. Ambassador Petrone is a great citizen and he fully deserves this honor. Speaker Newt Gingrich. Thank you.
We're also very lucky to have this evening Congressman Frank Ginta. Following another difficult election, although I like the recent polls on that. Congressman Ginta, could you please come up?
Good evening. I wasn't sure I was going to make it here. I was down in where was I? Jeez. I was in Nottingham at an event and with a group of great Republicans that Joe would be proud of. And I'd let them know that I had to excuse myself because I wanted to come here this evening before everybody closed the night, and I wanted to just come and say a couple of things on behalf of Ambassador Petrone. You know, many of us in this room have either sought office or have sought counsel from different Republicans, all of which have probably had the help of Joe and Augusta. And I first remember when I put my name on a ballot, and some of you have heard this before, I was told that I can't win. You're a Republican in the most Democrat district of your city in Manchester. There's no way you can win. And I heard that a lot from a lot of different people. And I always tried to, seek advice and counsel from those that I respected. And in the state of New Hampshire, there is a long list of respected people who have given their heart to politics and to governance. But I think Joe particularly is at the top of that list. And I remember when I first called, and I asked actually for a check for a state representative campaign. And they actually gave it to me. And I was told, if you don't ask, you're not going to get it. So I figured I'd call a bunch of people who, none of which knew me. Many of you are in this room. But Joe and Augusta were very pleased to hear about this young guy from Manchester who wanted to try to run in a Democrat city, in a Democrat ward, as a Republican. And lo and behold, I won. And then, thankfully, we have continued that streak as Team Ginta has grown to the point where I've had now the honor to serve as a congressman from this great state. And there are a lot of people that I feel very honored to be part of Team Ginta. And I feel very honored to have served in different capacities. But it's because of people like Joe and Augusta that allow people like me to be able to do what I do. And as we were through, 18 days left in a campaign, we were going through the schedule, and someone asked me, do you want to speak at this event? I said, do whatever you have to do to make sure that I get there. Because it mattered enough for me to just come and say thank you. Not just for what you've done for me, but how you have served admirably this country from a military perspective, as well as in a diplomatic perspective. We feel very honored in the state of New Hampshire, and I know Iowa does too, to have you as a leader in this nation. And there's so much that we have all learned from the Petrones over the years. But anytime any of us need something from them, they have always answered the call. And for that, I think we are all privileged. And for that, I think our state and our nation is a better place. So I had a flag flown over the Capitol for you in your honor. And I want to come and give it to you in Augusta, and I hope you will fly it in New Hampshire. If you want to do it in Iowa, that's okay too. But I hope you fly it in New Hampshire in honor of the very people who are here to pay homage and thanks to you. So thank you very much. I appreciate everything that you've done.
Thank you, Congressman. Certainly appreciate it. Thank you. I'd like to welcome up one of New Hampshire's great Republican activists, state representative, and a great help to all of us in putting this event together tonight. She has gathered greetings from a number of Ambassador Petrone's colleagues.
I was so
Fran
angry
Wendelbo.
with the television.
Jim says, be careful. I hope he meant here, not with what I said. Thank you. Mr. Ambassador Augusta, I have to tell you this week as I've talked to ambassadors, I've just been overwhelmed with their praise and admiration for you. And I'd like to just bring you a few comments that I heard from them. First of all, I'd like to talk about Ambassador Carmen and Ambassador Middendorf,
who we all shared a wonderful evening with about 4 years ago, if you remember, at a great event here in Manchester. Ambassador Middendorf is in New York running an economic summit tonight and was unable to be here. But his comment was that Joe Petrone is one of the truly great Americans. It was a privilege to serve with him, and I wish I could be there to celebrate with them. I also talked with Ambassador Carmen, and again, he wasn't able to be up here from Washington tonight, but many times we have talked about his admiration for you, and I know you succeeded Ambassador Carmen in your ambassadorship, so he's always had a very special place in his heart for you. I also heard from Ambassador Don Peterson, who is currently a member of the New Hampshire House of Representatives. He was an ambassador to a bunch of countries over the years, and he asked me to express to you, I'm sorry I can't attend this dinner. It's not a dinner. In your honor, it seems that our careers overlapped in some ways. I too served in Korea in 1950. When you were an attaché at the embassy in Paris, I was a Foreign Service officer on a stateside assignment in Washington after tours in Zanzibar and Nigeria. And when you served as with the ambassadorial rank in Geneva, I was ambassador to Tanzania. You have a distinguished record of service to our country, and I join those who salute you for it. The other thing I discovered about former ambassadors is that they travel a lot because most of them were out of state or out of the country, and that's why they couldn't be here. Ambassador Hull, I regret that I will be unable to attend the event for Ambassador Petrone because I am on a temporary State Department assignment in Malawi. And Ambassador Bruno had hoped to get here tonight, but I don't see him. He was of great assistance in rounding up all the names for me of some ambassadors I'd never heard of. He says, I think the world of Joe Petrone. He is a spirited patriot, energetic public servant, generous philanthropist, an experienced statesman, as we say in the diplomatic business, a wise man. I honor his contribution to our nature, and I am proud to call him a fellow New Hampshireite. He, along with Augusta, is an inspiration to all of us who aspire to be good citizens. And finally, Ambassador Sweat, former Ambassador Sweat, says, Dear Ambassador Petrone, you have always been an example to me of someone who can disagree without being disagreeable, even in these times of divisive politics and negative campaigns. Had to be political there, didn't he? It is only fitting that you be honored not only by your party, but by your friends and neighbors from both sides of the aisle who have felt your diplomatic powers of persuasion without being bruised in the process. There are few people these days that can do what you do so well. As a former partisan and diplomat myself, I appreciate the balance and finesse you bring to public debate. I always know where you stand, and even if I don't agree with you, I know that I can nevertheless feel comfortable standing with you as a New Hampshire and American citizen. You and Augusta always have put your country and home communities of New Hampshire and Iowa first. That is evident in everything you do. Being from these two states might be a good reason why your endorsement is so highly sought after during the presidential primary season. But I'd rather think that it's the quality of your judgment and luminescence of your character that attracts presidential aspirants seeking your endorsement. I congratulate you on an impressive and stellar career of service to your nation. May you continue to do what is right for America to help us negotiate these perilous times. And I stand ready to assist you if the need ever arises. With warm regards, Dick Sweat. And Mr. Ambassador, I am just a lowly former state rep, but I would also like to express my deep gratitude to the two of you. You are always there for me when I call for your guidance and your financial support. And so on behalf of so many people who couldn't be here tonight that you've helped over the years, I want to thank you for all of us.
Very nicely done, Fran. Thank you very much. Ambassador and I and Senator Carson and many here understand some things about the fog of war. I have been texting the staff of the GOP to tell Jennifer Horn that she's going to be next. Apparently that message has not gotten to her. So I'd like to welcome up Jennifer Horn, another great Republican activist, hugely helpful with the party, hugely helpful putting on this event. Jennifer?
It is an obstacle course getting up here. I have to tell you that of all the things that I have ever done having to do with Republican politics, this is by far the most delightful for me. It is such a pleasure to be here. When I first decided to run for Congress the first time, I was talking to my campaign guy, David, many of you know him, and he said, the first thing you have to do is call Augusta and Joseph Petrone. You have to go meet them, you have to impress them, you have to convince them you're the right person for the job, and you have to get their endorsement. You know, a very little bit of pressure for somebody who's never run for office before and going out. And I remember that first meeting very, very well. We met, and David told me all about you, and I had to go online and research you and know all my details about your service to both politics and our country. And I have to tell you, I went into the meeting with a significant amount of anxiety. And we met at Audrey's Cafe, and thank you to Juliana Bergeron for reminding me of the name of the place. Audrey's Cafe on 101 in Marlborough, a very nice, very sweet, tiny little diner between Dublin and Keene. And I walked in ready to go. I had my pitch. I was, ready to lay out my resume and my experience and why they had to be on my team. I could barely say hello before Joseph reached over, grabbed my hand and said, "Aren't you just the sweetest woman? Aren't you just so?" And then went into his, right out of the gate, "How do you feel about drilling in Anwar? We have to drill in Anwar. If you're going to go down to Washington, yeah." And it just took off from there. There was no going back. And Joseph's passion for these issues, was immediately clear. And over the years, as we've had so many more great conversations and really precious time together, Joseph and Augusta has served as the New Hampshire chairman for both of my campaigns, and their support and their encouragement and their friendship is beyond compare. And for anyone who has run for office in our state, you understand what I'm talking about. But the great privilege for us, for my husband Bill and I, and even for our children, is that Joseph and Augusta have become friends. And they have become good, close, as I heard someone say earlier, dear friends. People that we not only respect and admire, but for whom we feel profound affection. You've heard so much about Joseph's service to the country and both of their service to our great party. And what you have to understand is that it's so much more than what we can just say with mere words. It comes from a place in their hearts of tremendous love, deep, genuine love for our country, love for America, love for freedom, love for everything that we stand for. They have never been about promoting themselves. They have never been about pushing their effort or their name forward. Everything they do comes from a love of our country and the love of service. So what an extraordinary privilege for me to be able to be here tonight for both of you after you've been there for me for so often, so many times. Phil talked about his earlier about muffins and coffee on the porch on the back off the back of the house. So many lunches and other, small events and large at your home. Always welcomed, not just me, everybody who comes there. Those of you who know Augusta and Joseph know that they treat the waitress at Audrey's Cafe exactly the same way that they treat Laura Bush when she is in town. And we are so grateful, not just for your financial support of the party's efforts, but for the grace that you bring, Augusta and Joseph, to everything that you do. You have taught us that even in politics, we can be gracious and graceful. And I hope going forward that the day will come that somebody will look back and say that I have set for them the example that you have so generously set for me. Thank you both so much. I also get to bring greetings from afar. And I would like to point out that Joseph and Augusta winter in Iowa. They live in New Hampshire, just to be clear. And from Senator Chuck Grassley, he sends his best wishes. Dear friends, I was honored to be asked to speak at the Republican Party of New Hampshire Salute to Ambassador Joe Petrone tonight in Londonderry. It is great to know that my friend is being honored for his work and dedication to Republican causes. I wish I could be with you all tonight, but I am in Iowa until the election campaigning for our Republican federal and state candidates. I have known both Joe and Augusta Petrone since I met them in Marshalltown, Iowa in 1974 when I was running for the U.S. House of Representatives. It was a bad year for the GOP, but they worked harder than anyone. I was lucky enough to win by a slim margin thanks in no small part to their hard work. I was the only Republican in Iowa to win a federal seat that year. Joe campaigned hard for Ronald Reagan in 1980 and 1984, as did Augusta and her Duchess Dollies. And they both helped me with my U.S. Senate seat. I will always be grateful for their tireless efforts on my behalf and other Republican candidates in Iowa. Joe was appointed ambassador to the United Nations in Geneva by President Reagan. He was an outstanding representative for the United States. I am fortunate to call Joe and Augusta friends. Joe and Augusta are the only people I know who come to Iowa to winter. Barbara and I enjoyed visits to Geneva and to New Hampshire, where I slept in the same bed William Howard Taft did. We will always remember good times in Marshalltown and the mile-high lemon chiffon pie served at Stone's, where Joe and Augusta entertained us at Christmas time. Wherever Joe and Augusta go, be it Iowa or New Hampshire, they will always be the Republican workhorses. I know they are doing everything they can for a successful election this year, too. Barbara joins me in wishing Joe all the best and thanking him for his friendship and support. God bless, sincerely, Chuck Grassley.
Thank you, Jennifer. I've just been informed by the state staff that it's lack of leadership, not the fog of war, that was part of that miscommunication. Am I good? Okay. I started this evening talking about the fact that this line by line was kind of like herding cats, and our next speaker is the expert in herding cats as the Speaker of the House of New Hampshire Representative, not only in keeping those all together, moving a forward-looking agenda, but he has, as you know, the large bullseye on his back. He is the Democratic Antichrist. But if that's what they want to do, we're all very lucky, because I'll compare those records any day. Appreciate the speaker coming over here. He was at a previous event over on the other side of the state, and it is foul weather out, and I certainly appreciate you coming over. Speaker O'Brien.
Really, with all the accolades I get, I just don't inhale. I've been really impressed about those who are reading their speeches off their phone. Wait a minute, Ovid and I have the Blackberries. That's right. So I can't do that. Ambassador Augustus, I'm just so very honored to be able to speak at this occasion. And there are a few people I'd like to acknowledge. There's so many here who should be acknowledged, but some that I would very much like to. Senate President Eaton is here with us tonight, and when I came into the legislature, he's someone I look for direction, and I've always kept him in mind as I perform as Speaker. And having said that, Tom, you can't get another elected position if I'm claiming you as my mentor. And Councilor Ozorek, the service that you provided is honors all of us, and I'd like to acknowledge you being here, and Chairman McDonald. Your service to the party goes back decades and really brought us through this campaign season. We're going to have some good results for you. In these days of heightened and disparaging rhetoric, we hear much less than we should about American heroes. At times, I wonder if the public has forgotten that they ever existed, and I wonder if they assume that there are no contemporary heroes among us. We know, however, that heroes are still with us, but we also know that too many in the academic community and the mainstream media turn away from them because these heroes stand as inconvenient reminders of the greatness and the exceptionalism of this country. Those heroes have been and remain the defenders of those ancient and always modern principles upon which this country was founded, the principles upon which our party goes forward, the principles of freedom, liberty, and democracy. These heroes inspire us, and their examples serve as goals to which we can inspire. Ambassador Joseph Petrone is just one of those heroes. He is someone who inspires, and he sets a standard of greatness. He is a West Point graduate. He served as an Army officer, just as my father did in 3 wars, and just as my father did, he retired as a colonel. He also served our country with great distinction and devotion as the United States permanent representative to the European Office of the United Nations and many other international organizations in Geneva. But when he was finished with these civic duties, he realized that the fight was not over. Ambassador Petrone has continued to work tirelessly to protect the American values of lower taxes, smaller government, and free enterprise. He remains a defender and an example of American exceptionalism. Heroes such as Ambassador Petrone are exceptional now more than ever, for in the face of a loss of national purpose and historical understanding among too many of us, he is one of those who has remained stalwart in the defense of the principles of this country, as those principles have been attacked not just by the enemies from abroad, but those within our own borders. Having served this country in so many ways, both here and abroad, as a military leader in 3 wars, as a noble and proud emissary of our country, Ambassador Petrone knows that the goal is not to make America more like the rest of the world, but to make the rest of the world more like America. And he knows that within this very special country, we live in a very special state with its own exceptionalism, known as the New Hampshire Advantage. He knows that we need to protect that advantage by electing leaders who recognize that low taxes are the result of low spending, and that we need to be good stewards of taxpayers' hard-earned dollars and their freedom from an intrusive government. Leaders such as Ambassador Petrone understand and protect what makes New Hampshire stand out as a beacon of liberty among our big government neighbors. And finally, I must say, just as Ambassador Petrone has exercised exceptional judgment and place in his public life, we honor him for his exceptional marriage. We thank you, Augusta, for sharing Ambassador Petrone with us. Together, both of you have left an indelible mark on New Hampshire's political history, and we are so grateful for your work on behalf of Republican candidates and your efforts to build a strong Republican Party in New Hampshire, but more importantly, your efforts on behalf of New Hampshire and the United States. May God bless you, and may God bless our state, as God has blessed our state by your presence.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm sorry that I wasted the teleprompter joke earlier. And as we go into this congratulatory bit about the Army and father's an Army officer, what the miner's daughter and I will tell you is that there is a need for the Army. Someone's going to buy our rifles. That's kind of an inside thing. In any case, in 2006, in a very difficult time for this country and for this party, the Petrone stepped up and put together and worked and funded and sponsored a program in the state that really made a difference. It was the continuation of the Republican Party at that time. And I'm honored to have Harry Levine here to talk about those times and his work with the Petrones.
I've got a couple of tasks tonight. First off, I want to thank Jim and Wayne and Meg and Carrie for doing this. I can't believe we haven't done this before. I want to thank all of you because in the middle of an election season, when there isn't some national celebrity, in the rain, you all somehow managed to find your way here. And I can't think of two other people in New Hampshire politics who that could happen for. So thank you. I have a letter I need to read from Governor Sununu to Joe and Augusta. You both have been great Americans and great Republicans. I am so sorry I cannot be with you both as the New Hampshire Republican Committee honors you for your long and valuable service to our state. But Nancy and I are on our way to Florida to the last presidential debate. I know you both would understand that I want to use my warmth and charm to help get Mitt Romney elected so we can again have a real leader in the White House. Joe, you and Augusta have always been there when our New Hampshire Republican Party needed help. Together with you both, we have gone through the hard work of providing open door opportunities to Republican candidates working through our important First in the Nation primary, and then supporting our nominees in the general election. You both were always there with your generous hospitality and the gracious smiles that helped energize those crucial campaigns. Nancy and I appreciate and value your friendship over the years. Time truly does fly when you're having fun, and we really had fun sharing in these political battles with you. We're looking forward to seeing you both soon to celebrate what we hope will all be a great Republican victory on November 6th. Please do enjoy this evening. All the great tributes you will hear are well-deserved and delivered gratefully and appreciatively by all of us who recognize how important you have been in helping keep New Hampshire and America the unique and special places we all love. With great affection and sincere respect for you both, John H. Sununu. It isn't often that you get to publicly thank two people who have literally changed your life. So I hope you'll all indulge me for a moment while I do just that. You know, listening to the speakers tonight and thinking about Governor Sununu's words, I can't help but think that with all of the amazing things that Joseph and Augusta have done, it is likely that their most remarkable accomplishment is they got even more active after Joseph, quote, retired. Now, I say quote because if you know the Petrones, what they consider a normal, everyday pace during this retirement would kill most normal people. And all you have to do is ask their friend. They'll all tell you the same thing. It is impossible to keep up with these two. We've all tried. But I think I finally figured out their secret. They are simply the most positive people you will ever meet. It is impossible to be in a room with these two for 10 minutes and be in a bad mood. And no matter what challenges they face, no matter how crazy things get, not that that would ever happen in politics, they always find a silver lining. It is a marvel to behold. I can't think of anyone like them, but I think there are 3 reasons that they're able to do this. First, an undying love for their country. Secondly, this heartfelt desire to see other people succeed. And most importantly, their truly inspirational love for each other. I cannot tell you how many times my wife Holly and I have watched them, looked at each other, and thought exactly the same thing. There's our model for a happy marriage. Now, I know it's getting late, but I'd like to tell you one short story that I think sums up their love of life and their love for each other. Maybe about 5-6 years ago, Augusta and I are on the phone, and she said, I have to go in a minute. We're late for lunch, and Joseph is on the roof. And I said, I'm sorry, what did you just say? And in that marvelously girlish giggle she has, she said exactly what you thought I just said. I said, Augusta, what is he doing on the roof? And she sighed and she said, Harry, when you've been in love as long as we have, you learn that there are certain questions you no longer ask. Because there are certain battles you're never going to win. So the next time I saw Joseph, I couldn't help myself. I said, just out of curiosity, what were you doing on the roof? And he looks at me like this is the silliest question he's ever heard. And he said, the gutters need to be cleaned, so I cleaned them. That's Joseph and Augusta. If something needs to be done, they do it. If someone needs help, they help them. And that's why I think you would be hard-placed to find 2 people who have touched more lives in more meaningful ways and never once expected anything in return. And that's why I am truly proud and honored to have an opportunity to thank you both for everything you do for our country and for so many of us who you have helped in so many ways. So many of us who will never be able to even begin to repay all of your encouragement, support, and kindness. Thank you both for literally changing my life and the life of so many of your friends for the better. Thank you.
Wonderfully said, Harry. Thank you so very much. You know, a little story. I was a particularly ugly baby. Ugly enough that thank you. Ugly enough that my mother used to lead me places. And this isn't an ugly duckling story. I did not grow into an attractive adult. I was a particularly ugly adolescent. What that forced me to do when I was in high school was I wanted to go out on dates. I needed to be relentless. Had to keep asking. Had to keep asking if someone was going to say yes. The thing was, I got a number of yeses, and by the way, girls began to realize that they probably should say yes in the first time because I was going to keep on asking. The purpose behind this story is that you may wonder why I'm the finance chair of the New Hampshire Republican State Committee. That's because our chairman is a shrewd judge of character. He recognized that I have this relentlessness in me, and that I would chase money the same way that I chased women. We are very lucky in the Republican Party to have Wayne McDonald as our chairman.
Yes.
We all know how he became chairman. What he has done over the last 18 months has been nothing short of miraculous. In his own way and in his own function, he has been as successful as any chairman that I've served with, and I've served with the last 7. I thank Wayne for what he has done for this party, what he has done for this state. And I'd like to introduce Chairman Wayne McDonald.
Quite an introduction. I'd live up to an introduction like that. Many of you know I'm nearsighted, and when I first came in this evening, I was a little bit unnerved when I saw these two things that Jim refers to as teleprompters, because I thought they were too, and I thought the president might be coming. And just like the president, they're off kilter a little bit, so I figured it's got to be, the president's got to be coming, and I'm delighted that he isn't, by the way. But anyway, thank you all for being here on a stormy night. And again, it's a tribute to Joe and Augusta that people would come out, all of you would come out on a stormy evening to be here. I want to thank Jim Foley. It's a tough job to be finance chairman. And I'm grateful that he accepted that responsibility. I want to thank him. I want to thank the finance committee and everyone who put this together. I know Marmar Rogers worked very hard on it. Diane Bitter did. Fran Wendelboe, Alan and Jan Glassman, Terry Marsh, and I'm probably missing someone, but thank you all, and Joe and Augusta, thank you especially for letting us do this for you, because it's been an honor and a privilege to be able to participate in this event. Tonight we are here to honor a great American, a great patriot, a great husband, a great friend, and as Joe has said, a great Republican. Joe and Augusta have been extraordinary supporters of our party financially and in every other way. It was an honor to serve with Augusta as a presidential elector in 2000. It was her, myself, Alita Weirgang, and Steve Dupree, who was chairman at the time.
We put Bush over.
That's exactly it, and we cast a couple, she and I, a couple of those 271 votes that made George W. Bush the 43rd President of the United States of America. And in 2012, and I'm not going to give a campaign speech here because I know we're all of the same mindset, and in 2012 we're looking forward to seeing that happen again here in New Hampshire and across the nation, maybe by a little more than 271, but we'll take what we can get. One of the best jobs in our party is that of county chairman. And I did 5 terms in Rockingham County, and Joe has done that, served in that capacity, and he knows what that's all about. And then that's in conjunction with as many other aspects of his service throughout his lifetime. Joe has served with distinction under President Eisenhower, President Reagan, and was an integral part of the election and re-election, as we've heard, of President George W. Bush, as was Augusta. Joe has not just been involved with the effort to raise money in a campaign, but he has also been involved when it came to building a coalition of supporters for a candidate and the all-important grassroots ground game. His commitment to our party has been extraordinary and enduring. While there may have been times he was out of sorts or angry about something, and we've heard about this tonight also, I've never seen or heard about that, and none of us ever have. It's got to be the best kept secret, if in fact it's a secret at all that exists. Always has there been the smile, the kind demeanor, the sound advice, the sharp and accurate perspective on the issues and the candidates and everything else involved. Joe, your counsel to us all over these many years has been very much appreciated and treasured. It will never be surpassed and possibly never equaled. We wanted to give you something tonight to mark this occasion, which was appropriate and which was consistent with who you are. Thanks to the generosity of David DeWitt, who generously donated this wonderful item, I think that we accomplished this goal. This award is made of the substance for which the state you and we all love is known, and which comprises its nickname. It's made of granite. It is also made in our state shape, This is an item that will endure as you have endured, always being there, always reliable, always something that you can count on, as we have always been able to count on you. Mr. Ambassador, this was all of our gratitude and the highest praise that we present this to you tonight. And now let me read the inscription, assuming it's under here. I'm assuming this is it. And it is. This is what it looks like, by the way. It's addressed to Ambassador Joseph C. Petrone. The New Hampshire Republican State Committee honors your lifetime of commitment and service to the United States of America, New Hampshire, and the Republican Party. Presented October 19th, 2012. Thank you very much.
It's beautiful. Well, that's all right. It's strong. There you go. Thank you. It's strong.
Those of you who know me know I was a history major in college, and that's unfortunate for most of you. But I will say, my father is of Ambassador Petrone's generation. My father also fought in the Second World War in the Pacific. He was also an ambassador, foreign service officer, served this country almost in a parallel track to Ambassador Petrone. I simply want to say that I'm in awe of these men. I'm in awe of Ambassador Petrone and what he has done and what he's given us to us all. Ladies and gentlemen, our honored guest, Ambassador Joseph Petrone. I couldn't get the tank down, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've got a few notes here, but I first want to say how wonderful it is to be among all you Republicans. Don't you realize what it is? My glasses? Just ask me if I need my glasses. She thinks I'm old. That's the idea. But I do want to thank you for the special thank you. I didn't know who your event committee was. That's what I'd like to know, or it must be a name, because I know a lot of people did a lot of work. These things don't go out just by themselves.
I'll ask the event committee to stand up, please. Diane Bitter.
Oh, God bless you.
Marmar Rogers. Fran Wendelwell.
They're in here working.
Rick Stone. Fine, I get it. Rick Stone.
Wonderful.
Alan Glassman. Jan Glassman.
Oh, God. Well, I'm just so happy to see that, because I know it's to Jan and Alan who helped us too in this, Meg, John, and Tim, and all of you who came here tonight. You did something very close to my heart, and that's being here is contributing to the New Hampshire GOP. The New Hampshire GOP, and thus to the good government of this nation. I'm gonna get my line. I thought I had some lines here, but I don't know. All right, anyway. I expect many of you share my feeling that this much beloved country and its constitutional form of government is at risk these days. I'm sorry to say that, but it's true. It is at risk. So, contributions to the party for this event is going to a noble cause. There's no doubt about that. A victory for Republicans from the courthouse to the White House this coming November. Now, I'm going to make a special event to vote on Monday. So if you're in the positions I am in that I haven't done anything about it yet, well, please know I'm going to do it. And I think this is wonderful from the standpoint that we've got something going for us. And I do think that Monday will be the answer. May it always be. All right. I'd like to tell you a little story that goes back to the days of my time in Paris. My boss was mentioned here, was the legendary General Walters. Where's Don? Danny. Where's Danny? Danny, come on up here, old pal. That's all. You come on up. I want them all to see Danny. Danny was the very fine aide to General Walters. General Walters was a man out of a million. No, 10 million. No, the whole world. He was legendary, and who later became the UN ambassador. I have to write them down. Can't remember them all. UN ambassador, ambassador to West Germany. Oh, he predicted the fall of the big line, Berlin Wall, 3 years before Ronald Reagan told him to take it down. He also was in the CIA, and now here's one thing I want to tell you about. Guess how many languages he spoke? Come on, give me a guess.
15.
How many?
5, 7. 15.
15? No, this is read, write. Now I can speak in a lot of languages. I can't write, and there you are. But he could. 8 languages. Yeah, he writes you a letter, sends you any vote. Isn't that right, Don? You betcha. All right. He not only that, what else did he do? He translated for 4 presidents. Now, I know how he translated them, and you do too. He had a memory. That man had a memory. You give him something to look at, read, he'll hand it back to you, and he'll know everything about it. So, when the helper misses the paragraph, he'll be on them and say, hey, I want this paragraph back in here. You missed it. Well, that's pretty good, I say. All right. All right, he told, I always want to mention that translation for the 4 presidents. I want to get that in. And here's one thing. You know, it's very important for our government, even from the lowest level, and that's the voters, like you and I. Get it going to the top, because voting is what counts. I hope that everyone here will be able to vote Monday. All right. Now, let me tell you about this. General Walters hid Dr. Kissinger in his Paris apartment for 2 years. 2 years. Nobody knew a thing about it. But here's where it comes to elections are very, very important. General Walters had this gentleman, and he gives you the epitome of the elections, why we're very interested. This was the time of the peace talks. And asked Kissinger to go talk to the embassy from some of the Vietnamese peace talks. So he went. And only the French president and the intelligence agency in France knew this. See, this is all secret. Not now, but think about how long they kept that secret. Here's where we come down to the elections. Dr. Kissinger went to the maestro who lived enormously in a villa outside Paris. And you'll remember this, or do you ever hear it? From Le Ducteau, who was the messenger. When Kissinger went down to his apartment south of Paris for this is secret South Vietnam talks, Le Ducteau showed up at the top of the stairs, and he said something that is bothering me and always has. He said, Dr. Kissinger, I don't know why I spend any time talking to you. I can get anything I want from your Congress. Congress. Well, we know how it ended up. We know how it ended up because after the Watergate, a lot of Democrats came into the Congress, and there was a time then we could not get any more supplies for South Vietnam. Do you remember that?
Yep. Yes.
All right. Then North Vietnam invaded South Vietnam. And of course, I asked some of these gentlemen, I said, why are these boys jumping out of their tanks? Why are they leaving them? Well, they're leaving. He says, well, we don't have any ammunition. We don't have any food. This is how we treated those guys. Now, when you think about that we have that going on. He could not waste any time to talk to Kissinger. So nothing came of it. I only want to mention this because I only got one thing I wanted to get through. How important it is from the top to just right down to the bottom. Everybody's got to vote. Everybody's got to vote. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you got $20 billion. You're only going to get one vote. Or should you get only one vote? I want to thank you with the bottom of my heart for this wonderful get-together. For Augusta and me, Augusta and I have enjoyed this ever so much and still do. I am retired now. I'm a little slower than I used to be, but I can still get there. But it's been wonderful working with the Republicans. You know, in the beginning, in the military, we had no parties, no Democrats, no Republicans. We just took it exactly the way we were getting it, and that's the way it is. But now it's different. We got to save this wonderful country here. It has the best kind of government you could ever get, and I know you're going to do that coming here Monday. But anyway, I thank you, Augusta. Well, come on up here, Augusta. Okay, I wanted Augusta to come up here. You know why? Well, because she's the boss. That's why. I might as well better tell the truth about that, hadn't I? But anyway, Augusta, I know you got a few things on. I know one thing you got on your mind. We want to thank all of you, each of you, thoroughly for being so kind to have an affair like this and to honor Augusta and me. So it isn't right for me just to stand here and tell you how important the vote is. You know that. But now Augusta has to say something herself. Oh, you want me to mention that? Huh? I got something here. Oh, I see. I'm not going to mention it. But, okay, again, many thanks. God bless you all.
Tim, it was a wonderful evening and we both loved it. And I'm afraid we inhaled a little bit too.
There's another event taking place this year. It is the 60th anniversary of Joe's 29th birthday. And we'd like to wish him a happy birthday, and we'd like to sing happy birthday to Ambassador Petrone.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's really kind. Oh, what is on? Oh my goodness. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Joseph. Happy birthday to you. You folks really know how to get a guy's heart. You've got mine. That's all there is to it. It just, I can't thank you enough. I can't tell you enough. And the best I can do is put the boss on. God bless you. Okay, boss.
I just want to end with Joseph's favorite quotation, and that is the secret of a happy marriage. Live, the 4 L's. We all knew the 3 R's when we were growing up. The 4 L's are live, love, learn, and
laugh.
This has been a fabulous event. We have knocked it out of the park, and the reason that we did that is because of our event chairs, which is Diane Bitter and Marmar Rogers, and they have a presentation for the ambassador.
Oh, hi. Oh my goodness, yeah. Marmar, how are you? Good to see you. Hello, Diane.
Ambassador, we would like to, can you all hear her?
Yeah.
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 It's a token of our appreciation and gratitude for all you've done, and it will be engraved and placed in the circle upon outside the museum following this event.
You know, you're really spoiling me.
You're worth it.
Now, a special thanks to all of you who braved the weather and came tonight. It gave us such pleasure.
That's true. I thought the weather was going to get us for a while. Then I came in here and saw all you folks. What am I complaining about? But anyway, God bless you all. We wish you a good evening. And we thank all the people here and the people who put this on, and the speaker and the finance, and you know something, you've got a great team.
I want to thank you all. I want to thank you all for coming. It has been a wonderful evening. We are serving the cake, and so please join us in the celebration of Ambassador Petrone's birthday. Thank you all so very much.
Croc TV.